Good morning and welcome to Purpose Driven Finances, where our focus is helping you use your finances to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And now here's the host of Purpose Driven Finances, Alan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. This is Alan Molina, your host, Purpose Driven Finances and President, Serwus Capital Management, helping you achieve the purpose and plan for your life through financial planning, portfolio management, and all sorts of stuff. Today we have an exciting show talking about what's happening in the economy and markets, but also I decided to ask some questions of Google, not AI, but Google, to ask what their top questions were, what people were asking. And so I thought we'd cover that today. And then we're going to talk about, in the second segment, purpose and planning, why big moments deserve better planning. Folks, I'm excited. We're going to have a travel agent next week. We're going to have a diamond dealer, talking to some local car salespeople, but also owners, not car owners, but car dealership owners, and over the next month, and then wrap it up with retirement planning. But with all of that said and done, sitting here with my friend, my co-host, Rich Roth. How you doing, man?
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
Are you enjoying the cold weather?
Well, I'm getting ready to go play some golf after this show.
Hey, that's awesome. You'll be the only one out there.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. No, thank you on that. Little too cold out there for me. I guess I didn't move far enough south.
Exactly. Well, I figured you enjoy it, being a Southerner by choice, a Northerner by birth.
Tell you what, it doesn't feel like the South right now.
It doesn't. Crazy. In some valleys, mid-teens, but low 20s. But I'm a cat and dog lover. I like Democrats, like Republicans. Don't always agree with everybody's policies, but I'm a dog lover. I got a dog, and I got some cats. Some of the cats adopted me. That being said, but during the cold weather, everybody's like, bring the cats in. I got this one cat. It grows hair to where it's like 7 inches long. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like blows up. I was like, come on in. He's like, he kept on looking inside, and he's like, nah, I don't want to go in, bro. So I have 3 houses beside my, on my back patio for them to go and whenever they want to come in. So bring your pets in, folks. But Rich, let's jump right in because I like to talk and do stories and all that kind of stuff. But folks, last week we talked about inflation, and I said inflation was going to go down more than it actually did. So it wasn't quite right. We got the direction right. If you remember, when it's reported this month, it's actually last month's inflation. And so it was at 274. It came in at 268. I think I was expecting in the 2.4s, 2.5s, Rich. Mm-hmm. So I had the direction right, but the number was not accurate. That being said, the what's coming up in the forecast for next month, that will be out this month. I mean, that'll be out next month, but for this month. Is that confusing enough?
Yes.
December, I'm expecting 256. And then from there, in January's, which will be, shown in February, probably 248. And so you say, why is it going down? Well, one big thing is oil. There's a big oil producer in the Bakkens in South Dakota. They're actually closing up shop, first time in 30 years, because oil's come down so low. I think they needed to be above $56 a barrel. So it's going to affect some of those folks. I would say, use some not acronyms, but words, but I'm not sure if a wildcatter is the correct term, but those folks who drill for oil. So it's exciting. And then the other item I've heard is that some housing is deflating a little bit. I'm not really sure which kind, because if we talk to the resident expert, Carl Miller, real estate is going up and each year increases. So I'm not really sure how that came down. There's about 30 or 35 numbers that go into the inflation forecast. I didn't go into the weeds, Rich. Can you believe it? I had other weeds I had to go into. And talking about weeds, Rich, do your sons ever volunteer to do things around the house for you? I'm throwing them under the bus and my kids.
On occasion.
On occasion, if they want something.
On occasion.
I'm just kidding.
Not as much as I would like, but more than they used to.
No kidding. My middle son, I came in, I was like, guys, good job doing the dishes for your mom. You're in college or almost out, and she's feeding you and cooking you dinner, and you couldn't do the dishes. And he said, Dad, that's a great way to be passive aggressive. I'm like, well, sure beats the alternative. But no, here's what he said. Here's what my son said. He said, Dad, I want to get some weed killer, and I want to kill all the grass in the driveway. I'm like, hey, that's something I don't have to do.
Yeah.
Just make sure he wears a mask, because I don't want any issues 30 years down the road. So we'll see what happens. It's not about weeds. So Rich, here's the questions I ask. We are rolling through this, and I think I have 5 or 6 questions.
Okay.
And so what I did is I decided to ask Google. And you can actually get whatever subject, you can get the most recent ones. And I only picked about 5, 6 of them. And so what I'll do is I'll ask, then you can ask. And then, Rich, if my wife always compliments you when we listen to.
I wish my wife would compliment me.
Oh, she does.
No, she doesn't.
And that being said, she says, Rich, he interviews so well. He asks great questions, not only on the home show when you helped interview me, but also here. She says, that's just down your lane. You do such a great job.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
She is sweet.
Yeah.
Last week she fussed at me because I threw her under the bus.
Good for you, Pam.
So, but the first question is that people are asking is which companies are making money from AI? Rich, if you remember, I don't expect you to, but I just asked that rhetorically. About 3 or 4 months ago, MIT came out with a study of the companies that were actually making money, and I think 95% of companies that were involved in AI were not making money. And that's a tremendous amount. So people are saying, what companies are making money from AI?
Now, is that a question of it's just still so new that they're in the developmental phase and their expenses, that the revenue hasn't started rolling in yet? Or is it just everybody's trying to get into a space and only a few are really going to truly make it?
I would say both of those things, because you remember the dot-com bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe there's going to be a lot of AI companies that go belly up.
Mm-hmm.
You had the expert from Lynchburg College, and so you know more about AI in some situations than I do. That being said, last time I heard Meta's Facebook, is it Llama? I don't know. I mean, why would Llama? What the heck? That's like from Fortnite or something. I don't know.
I'll take your word on that.
But I've heard it's the one that's the worst.
Oh, really?
That's what I've heard. And then there's other ones, and then there's these AI aggregators and things such as that. But the biggest issue is the companies that are producing the AI aren't making the money. So I made a quick list. The AI companies that are the ones that are actually producing the chips. NVIDIA is making boatloads of money. And some, so that means other semiconductor, SMCI, which I think is, I don't remember, whatever, SMCI. I just remember the symbol. There's other, semiconductor companies that are producing it. But also you have to look at it is a lot of industrial companies are making money. You're like, why are industrial companies? Last week, we mentioned that the large, huge, ginormous, big warehouses for AI use 50,000 tons, which I think is kind of, what the heck, man? That's a lot of tonnage. They're using that amount of weight in copper. So, so the companies that produce copper, which is an industrial, they're making some money. Also, the energy companies. I don't know if you heard about it, Rich, but Microsoft came out and said, hey, we're going to pay some extra money, basically, to make sure we sucking all the energy for our AI centers doesn't affect people. And so the problem there is that's going to flow down to Microsoft and Google and Facebook and whoever owns Grok. I don't know if it's...
That's Elon, isn't it?
It is Elon, but I don't know.
X,
I don't know which company it is. He's got so many.
Oh, well, I mean, I know it's affiliated with X
Right.
in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know
Yeah, it is.
which specific company. I just know it's Elon. Baby.
Exactly. And so, and then energy companies, they're making bucks. Which other question you want to tackle next?
What about the labor market softening, but the economy is still growing?
Exactly. Thank you. Now, Rich, this is a hot topic. The next thing I'm going to say. Some people are going to cut me off. Some people are going to hug me. It's the illegal aliens is one of the driving forces.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And the reason being is the natural born workers have increased tremendously, but the non-natural born workers have gone down tremendously. And so what's happened, frankly, is a lot of illegal aliens who have either self-deported or have actually deported, or we have deported them as a government. It's brought down their employment data, which flows into the total employment data,
Mm-hmm.
and natural born, and I think is what's happened is we've hit an equilibrium between the two. And then you say, well, what else is happening? Well, also companies are being patient because of AI. You know, I use AI. Some folks at James River Media use AI. Everybody uses AI, to some form or fashion. And so what ends up happening in life is a lot of companies are like, are we going to hire more because of AI? How is it really going to affect things? I'm not really sure, because companies are trying to figure out how to really make money from AI.
Mm.
And so what they've done is, is AI really going to take over people's jobs? But one thing I have found, Rich.
What do you think the answer is to that? Because obviously the answer is yes to a degree.
Right.
And, because there are some tasks that are just so simple that, AI can do it. But then there are others where you use it to enhance what you're doing.
Right.
Right. I mean, you don't just turn over everything and say, AI, do everything for me, because then you're totally replaceable.
Right. Well,
you need to use it the proper way.
Exactly. And so here's what I've done is I have a friend who's trying to do a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and his art was basically some words on a piece of paper. I borrowed that. 1983, that would cut it.
Mm.
That's cutting edge. But now it's like, no. So I decided to go out and use AI because I have 3 subscriptions. That's a lot. Well, I have different reasons why I use them. Like, I'll use Copilot because it's very good at the Word documents and Excel. That being said, I asked the three engines to create pictures for me for his podcast. I'm like, it would have been so much easier if I had paid the money to get someone to actually go do it.
Like an artist who has creativity. And
Exactly.
Ashley did one the other day where she was looking at getting a puppy.
Right.
And she had a picture of her dog, and she said, add a puppy to it. And you know what it did?
What?
It added a second head to her dog. And you're sitting there like, I mean, there are people who trust AI to do everything. And
Right.
if you fall into that trap, you're going to get burned.
Right.
And it's also obvious too, right?
It is.
When you're using AI to do
Right,
everything,
right.
I mean, it just becomes so obvious.
Right. And frankly, the 3 I used, ChatGPT did well. The one for Google did well, but the Copilot, it just gave me nothing. It gave me a brown piece of paper. I'm like, I'm just going to use you for Excel. And it said, okay, fine, we'll go to Excel mode. But the reason I bring up that is because AI, there's so many companies who have it. They say they want to do this and all this other stuff and provide it and enhance what you're doing. But the problem is if you don't use it correctly. And so what I thought we would do is, we still got 3 questions. Maybe we'll touch on them next week, but we got 15 minutes. And if we run out of time, the second segment, which is why big moments deserve better planning, really helping you get the best deals during wave season. That's what we're in. We're in wave season. But also cars and diamonds and all kinds of things. So folks, stick around, 434-316-0246. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Information you want, truth you demand. It's Brian Kilmeade.
How about saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene has got a butch body? Congratulations on that. Just tell me, who do you want to lead with those words? That gets traction because a lot of people think it's totally idiotic and stupid. There's so many legitimate issues going on here: the cost of living, cost of housing, cost of wages, a trade war. So what makes you think that in politics you should avoid talking about that stuff?
The Brian Kilmeade Show, weekday mornings from 9 to noon on WLNI.
Hi, I'm Vince Gallane's host of The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. It's a show with an obsessive focus on what's good for America. I'll give you the truth beneath the headlines of all of the nation's top stories, and I'll bring attention to the stories the legacy media want you to ignore. We feature newsmaking interviews with the top guests on the planet. I'll ask the questions you can only dream of other interviewers asking. And of course, I'll take your calls from sea to shining sea. The Vince Show and Vince Podcast.
Weekdays from noon to 3 on WLNI. And now, back to Purpose-Driven Finances. Here's Alan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. Alan Molina here, your host of Purpose-Driven Finances and president of Serwus Capital Management, helping you achieve the purpose and plan for your life. You know, AI, I've learned to really use it. We finished the last segment, and we're going to hit on it because here's what happens. If you go into Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you go on social media, there will be some clickbait about how to use AI. So I decided to go down that rabbit hole a little bit and give you a little bit of advice. But let's talk about making big purchases. Now, what do I mean by a big purchase? Big purchase, you know, eventually we're going to talk about a house, but that's, you know, we'll work with my friend Carl Miller and maybe some folks who do loans and things such as that. We'll probably devote a whole month to that, maybe April or something like that, maybe May. But I'm talking about big purchases such as vacations. I'm talking about cars. I'm talking about one big purchase that people don't really think about is your retirement. Because realistically, if you make $50, $100, $200, $300, $400,000 and you put anywhere from 3 to 20% of your take-home pay into your retirement, you know, that's a big chunk of money. So big purchases, they have long consequences. And the other thing is the emotional timing that comes with it. And realistically, that is the enemy of good planning. You know, Rich, I've joked about how I took my family when we had two in diapers, and we decided to go to Myrtle Beach on a Thursday.
Yeah, in the last second whim.
Right. You know, so I plan out a little bit farther.
That's good.
But you know, I have gone down there before. Not only that time, but another time, making arrangements as I go. It's not something you should do on a regular basis. You know, you want peace in the family. And so we're really talking about designing your big purchase through a process, not just penny pinching. I don't know about you, Rich, but I like a deal. I like deals. I like to shop. You know, I like to shop sometimes places you don't dare go.
Antiquing.
Yes.
Now, okay. In all honesty, Alan, do you really like antiquing?
Some aspects of it.
Or were you dragged around by your ears?
No,
by Pam?
sometimes.
And good for you for doing it, Pam.
Yeah, no, sometimes I like it.
You do, okay.
Other times I'm like, this is freaking useless. Like Pam and I went somewhere, and I was bored to death. It was horrendous. Then we went to Black Dog Salvage. You ever been there?
Yep.
That's a pretty cool place to go. I know it may not be your cup of tea.
Well, I mean, I also don't know that it's necessarily antiquing, though.
It's not.
I mean, there may be some, but there's all kinds of cool stuff, and they're making different tables out of things you would never think. So, you know,
they should be advertising.
They should.
Mm-hmm. But we went from an antique store to there. It was a great time, and like I bought an antique, a cradle that was made about 1850. You know. And it's on the floor. You can rock it with your foot, solid wood.
Are you kind of waiting for grandchildren?
Yes, that's what it's for.
Okay.
You know.
And are you going to put them in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because usually antiques are for show because they're so old.
No, it's in great shape.
Okay.
It's in great shape. There's no issues with anything. I'll take a picture and send it to you.
Please don't.
Yeah, I know you want that. But the first step, Rich, that I want people to really, because realistically, going through life and doing purchases, it basically just make it. Everything's fine.
Good. I pulled too hard on a cord.
Right. Is because realistically, you get so much more enjoyment if you make the purchase a process. Now, I know the emotional endorphins of going out and purchasing something is exciting. Now, when you have your annual golf tournament, I do not get endorphins from buying golf balls. I'm like, what in the world is going on? But I think I'm going to start taking it up more. Just 9 holes at a time.
It's a good way to start.
Just gradually getting up. I've decided to change my mind about it. But the first thing I want you to do is decide first, shop second. What I mean by that is don't go out on a date night and say, hey, let's go look at cars as a way to, and then you decide to buy it because you emotionally like the feel of it. You know what I would like to emotionally buy? A Corvette. I really, really, really like the new C8 Corvettes.
The new one or an antique?
I take them all except for a C4. You probably don't know what a C4 is.
Don't.
It's a 1980 to about, I don't know. It's an ugly Corvette. Can't stand it. Yeah. That being said, I would love to get a Corvette. One day I will. Maybe. I don't know. But
you're going to be one of those guys?
Probably.
The 70-year-old dude in the Corvette?
That's fine. Or a Lamborghini like we talked about last week, No, I don't want a Lamborghini. Changing the oil at $28,000 a thing.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a Bugatti, but I'm sorry to get us. It's
Wait,
ridiculous.
What? $28,000 to change the oil
on a Bugatti? Yes. And
what kind of oil is it?
The entire bottom of the.
Do you have to go into Venezuela?
Right.
Like fight for your life.
The entire
for a
bottom
type of
the car comes off. Did you know that you have to buy new rims for every second pair of tires you get? Because there's so much torque, it spins the rims within it, and you need. I don't want an exotic car. That's why I want a Corvette. That being said, decide first, shop second, because if you decide first, it's really what you want, and you take the emotion out of shopping. Now, I know a lot of people shop in order to get the emotional endorphins. The problem with that is you get a lot of stuff you don't need, and also the timing, it's intentional. Number 2 is it doesn't fit in your current season of life. Does it really enhance where you are and what you want to do? That's why I don't have a Corvette right now. It does not enhance my season of life.
Yeah, well, when you say fit the current season of life, hot rod little sports cars that, us older guys have to try and climb out of.
Exactly.
And it takes 10 minutes to get out of the damn thing.
Exactly. It doesn't work too well,
That's why I think Porsche was smart.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get the SUV Porsches.
Exactly.
That still can fly around and all that, but it's actually somewhat practical and, you don't look ridiculous.
Exactly. Exactly. You don't have to get
and you don't look old, Alan, but if you wait,
I've tried to get out of them. I took my boys to go try the Corvettes when they came out in Richmond.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Trying to get out of them. It was so funny. We should just have. I'm looking for our season of cars.
Okay.
Because you've heard of Japanese imports. I'm not talking about Hondas. I'm talking about. It's amazing. There's a place in Richmond. They import cars that are over 25 years old. They never go down in value. It's amazing. And there's a dealership here in Lynchburg that actually sells them.
Interesting.
Now don't quote me on that. Don't sue me because your 25-year-old plus Japanese market car went down in value. I don't guarantee that, but everything I've seen, they just go up every year. It's so interesting. So number 1 is decide first, shop second. The second thing I want you to do is establish the range. what I mean by that is the range of money that you're willing to spend. And then what I would do is this is where I would use the actual internet, not AI. Use the web in order to get the realistic price of what you want to do. Rich, you've seen the pictures of the Amalfi Coast of Italy. Have you seen that?
Beautiful.
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 Have I told you about my stories about wanting to go there?
Yes.
Yes, I've told the radios. And it may have been last week. I did not realize how expensive it was. I'm like, dude, I don't see me doing that. Because now, Pam, if you want to go, I'll make sure it happens. But oh my word,
Sounds like you may be going alone, Pam.
yeah, I'm amazed at how expensive it is. I mean, $700-800 a night off season.
Wow.
$1,500, $2,000 a night.
For just like a hotel room?
They don't really have hotels in the Amalfi Coast.
So, I mean, is it a condo or an apartment? Or?
No, it's more like a Airbnb.
Okay.
Because the Amalfi Coast, they have the blue water and the white houses.
Mm-hmm.
And these white houses are like hundreds of years old. So it's not like you can roll up on a Hilton. There's probably some Hiltons.
But I mean, it's like you get one room.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll talk to our expert
Next week.
next week.
All right.
Next week. So, and you use some websites to figure that out. And the goal was don't go too high in the expenses. Don't go too low. And go to where you enjoy it. Because you know what? One time, Rich, when Pam and we were just married, I was a college kid, so I didn't have much money. And she was working at the Limited. We went down to North Carolina to go to a concert. And all we had the money for was a special at McDonald's or the potato soup at Shoney's. And we stayed in like the Red Roof Inn.
Mm.
But those are, if she hadn't gotten sick, it would have been it would have been a great time. If she hadn't gotten sick, those memories back in the day. We went to school uphill both ways.
Yeah.
Those types of things. It's sweet. It's loving. It's great memories. But then number 3, use AI as a tool, not as a decision maker.
Ah, yes.
That's what you should do.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. As an example is you need to ask really good questions. And so what I decided to do in preparation for our person coming next week, she's a travel agent, and does a great job. She's also we are in Rotary together. But that being said, what I did is I decided Pam and I are thinking about doing a trip next year to Nepal. If I hire somebody to take over the office when I'm gone, okay. And that being said, so a lot of times people will use AI in order to say, give me the cheapest tickets. They think it'll do that.
Mm.
But AI, you need to ask good questions. Like, here's the question I ask. I want to fly from Lynchburg, Virginia to Kathmandu, Nepal around late summer of 2026. Act like you're a pricing analyst and tell me the cheapest time frame to book this route based on airline pricing patterns and historical AI and historical trends. That's a question most people will not ask.
Mm.
And so what you have to do with AI is be very specific and ask it. And so guess what it did? It came back and gave me an exact best time frame of the year. It didn't give me the best tickets. It just said, give me the best time frame. I then have to use other websites in order to create the actual places and talk to a travel agent about the best places to get it.
I also heard real quick,
Yeah,
if you use like incognito mode,
exactly. Incognito.
then you're going to get better pricing than if you use
will.
regular browser.
Exactly. So, folks, I got so much more. I'm trying to get Rich, let me do this for an hour. Give me a call at 434-316-0246 or my website, servuscm.com. And if you missed a show, you can get every show on my podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Hope you have a great and blessed weekend.
Returns for illustrative purpose. This is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or use a platform. Only will a suggestion occur after a meeting to determine goals, risk tolerance, and time horizons. Investments involve risks and no guarantee of future results.